This is Dave Putz from JKP Holdings. We recently were talking to a couple investors about BPOs and figuring out values of properties. What we were discovering with a lot of the new investors and some experienced investors is a constant conversation of it all goes back to the value of the property, so they know what the end goal is. And as we all kind of know, we don't know the actual true value of the property, but we do our own different skill sets to figure that out. Coming from where I was, all we did for from 2010 to 2012 for the hedge fund was put value in properties. Nothing was ever detailed to the point where we can guarantee anything, but we put a ballpark based on a bunch of data that we came in, and we in parts where we spoke to local people. So we're talking to a lot of local new investors here about notes and whatnot in our small groups. We discovered that a lot of them were lost in what to do. So what we ended up doing is talking a lot about BPOs and valuations and local knowledge. And a lot of them were surprised to find out we don't purchase BPOs that often. Reason being is most BPOs are completely wrong. Valuations are a property that's 5 miles away when it doesn't need to be. So what we discovered was we sat back and says, what do we need to know? What do we need out of it? So what we ended up doing is we spoke to the same agents who would pull BPOs, but we had a conversation with them. We didn't need anything particular at the beginning. We needed just their local expertise. So what we did was we'd contact local REO agents who are used to the process so they can rekey it for us when we need to. And then we asked them questions. We found out some amazing information about a lot of properties, from what side of the street something was on to what happened when an older man was in his teenage years, of what to buy that city, to what reason, and why properties in this side is great and this side is terrible, flood locations, all kinds of awesome information that a BPO doesn't provide. We also discovered that BPOs typically is someone takes a quick picture and then they run kind of a valuation model on it. They don't really put a lot of their 2 cents into it. So what we discovered is we call these agents up and we get some local just data on it. Give me the days of market. What's it look like? What kind of market are we talking about? What is it? Rentals? Is it homeowner typically buying? What kind of houses sell in the area? What areas would you go into? Which areas would you not go into? What areas are hot? What areas are not hot? Um, and then ask them the hard question of what they think the value of that property is, if they're going to sell to a local investor as is, kind of thing. That gives us a good starting point on what a valuable property is. And of course, they can't answer what the ARV ultimately may or may not be, because they don't know what expenses or rehab costs are going into that property. However, we found that we were able to get a lot of data from them just from a 4 or 5 minute conversation, and we shared this with a lot of investors. They were surprised to find out that we didn't pull this from a BPO. What we then do is we typically let the agents know, because the question comes back, well, why would the agent work with us? We explain what we do, and we explain that when we have an REO and we need lockbox done, or we need this done, that done, we have one good friend in that local community, and that's the agent we're speaking to at that moment. So some agents buy it, some agents don't. It's not really a sales line, because once we take it REO, or if that property goes to a short sale situation, we're immediately calling that agent up and saying, we need your help. We need you listed. Can you find us a buyer? So we say this because a lot of people don't know what to do on getting a value of property, and may get lost with BPOs, or truly believe that the BPO is 100% right. We know BPO people that kind of laugh at that theory. So what I would do is I would suggest to you, get on the phone with some of the agents. If you're buying small pools of assets, even larger pools, you can get the assets that are questionable but values, not the condos that are easy to comp, and not the rural places because those are still difficult to comp. But some of the ones where they're questionable, where there's a, house maybe worth 50,000 and across the street is 120, and just those confusion ones. What we then do is we just ask those simple questions, right? We email them, we get a hold of them, we talk to them, and we start that relationship. We've run into times where the agent actually knows that borrower, right? Or maybe even listed a house for that borrower in the past. That's great information because now we know what the interior may or may not be like, but we have a good idea what it could have been at one time. So we suggest you guys to go out there and call these REO agents and speak to them. BPOs are great, they're time savers. However, you're not going to get that truly the detailed information that you're looking for. So as much as we're all big about automation, I think calling the agents on those questionable properties who know the area. And the last tidbit, what we found often is when we said to these agents, after a few minute conversation, explain what we do, we often ask, any chance you're driving by this property, going to a different, going home at night because they're local, or possibly going to another, site where they're listing another house. And we've gotten a lot of yes. So we ask them while they're on the road, can they just take 2 or 3 pictures and shoot it over to us, email or even text, and just send us those pictures. And get a, hey, what do you think of it from a drive-by? You're ultimately getting a really good BPO, and an agent who's really invested in the time. And to me, I can call the agent back up and say, hey, it looked like the roof, and they can give you kind of answers. So we highly recommend you guys go out there and contact those agents. It can be scary at first. It can get nerve-wracking. Boy, trust me, you get over that eventually. You get the information you want out of it. And if they ever say to you, oh, are you looking for a BPO? Just shake your head and just say, no, I'm not looking for a BPO. I'm just looking for your local knowledge. If I can get some pictures in the back end, great. I'm looking for your local knowledge. And a BPO often isn't that. It's someone takes quick pictures and runs an AVM kind of model and puts it together and kind of quickly does it because it's a manufacturing kind of process. They get paid by how many they do. So, and when they do it, 35% are right. So be careful with that. Again, Dave puts JKP Holdings, and I hope this helps. Take care.